Hello, this is Insane Monster with part 1 of What If Deku Had Abyss Sans' powers. Now then, this series is one of three that are somewhat interconnected. As for what that kind of thing entails, well, you'll learn once the what if begins. Now, with that said, hit it. Now then, before we get to the part with Deku, there's a little something going on behind the scenes. While Deku and the one he trained with, Asta, go back to their when they go back to their worlds, three entities meet where a group three entities of extreme power meet where they discuss what to do about these very future adversaries that could pose a serious threat to them. Now then, we see two of them clearly. One is the demon Trigon, and the other is the dark entity Dormammu. As for the third, he is cloaked in shadow for the time being, as the shadowy being releases three orbs from his grasp, each one revealing a person. Two of them are Abyss Asta and Abyss Deku. The other one, we only see the feet. However, they are very familiar boots. As he states that the one with, that I said earlier that isn't visible to us states that this was the first one he trained. As for these two, as he points toward Asta and Deku, are ones that the Saiyans known as Abyss trained and extended his power. Once they fully realize their abilities, they will prove to be highly dangerous and quite troublesome to us. If nothing is done, it is possible we could be permanently eliminated once they gain their full power. However, if we do something about them now, eliminating them, and more importantly, eliminating their very existence from the multiverse, there's nothing that can be done to bring them back. And the future plans of not only me, but you two as well, will be cleared. I give you the option of choosing which target you want to go after. Trigon steps forward first, looking at his choices, and states, "This green-haired boy, I believe I'll take him. He looks like easy prey." As the entity then stated that gathered them together, stated, "Be warned, if you attack them yourself directly, I'm sure the Gaia and Eve of the multiverse that you'll be attacking him in will most likely intervene, which means you must attack him indirectly using proxies." Trigun smirks, thinking, "Oh, I've seen throughout the multiverse, and I've seen some beings that will prove most beneficial. I'm sure I could persuade them to take out a single boy." As he takes the orb that produces a hologram of Deku with him, and went his way to gather forces. As for Dormammu, he just smirked, thinking, "This one," pointing at Asta, remarking, "I'm sure I'll be entertained crushing him." Taking his orb and going his way to recruit his own forces, the Sen. As for the shadowy figure, he takes the final orb as we just see a smirk as he remarks, "Good, I was kinda hoping I'd get this one, his first pupil," as he opens a portal going to gain forces of his own to attack. Now then, like I said, I left the third student kind of out. As for how that's possible, the multiverses weren't really on the same time dilation until they linked together. So now they're all linked. And yes, this will, including Sans multiverse, it adds up to 4 abysses. As for who the person who took the final orb that hologrammed his first Sans' first student he taught and extended the power of the abyss to, that's gonna be a secret for later. Now then, we head back to Deku's universe after his training is complete and he says goodbye to Asta. Once he gets back, he practices daily with his magic, including his own soul magic. He mostly trained to use the same powers as Sans, though his soul is a green one of kindness. And when he produces the magic from that soul, it produces itself as green fire. He figures it's probably something from his dad. Or at least it has something to do with his dad. Though, unlike normal flames, these flames have the ability to heal people, since that's a power of green soul magic. Now, Deku is just walking home as he walks past a pathway where he sees a girl with pink skin and hair and horns being harassed by a guy who seems to have some kind of powerful quill quirk. As he was starting to walk over there, thinking he might have to step in, the quill guy stabbed the girl in her arm with 2 quills. Instantly, he just teleports over there, kicking him in the face, causing him to slam into the wall. As Deku looks at him, saying, "The hell do you think you're doing? And in broad daylight?" As the Quill villain stated, "Don't get in my way, kid." Instantly, Deku snaps his finger, and the villain is encased partially in crystal, even putting a crystal muzzle on him, not keeping him from breathing, but keeping him from talking. As Deku stated, "I'll deal with you later." As he kneels down to the girl, checking on her wound, he remarks, "Okay, hold still." As he yells, "Wait, wait, hit the quill has bars." If you don't know what that means, it means the quill is jagged, so it damages more pulling out than it does going in. Deku stated, "Don't worry, I have a healing ability." As she doesn't understand since she just saw that guy just encase the villain in crystal. As he grabs the quill with one hand and places his hand on her arm with the other, he yanks out the quills quickly and produces green flames. This shocks her as she grits her teeth, thinking she's going to be burned, as well as feeling the pain of getting the quills ripped out, but the quills only hurt for less than a second, and when she was expecting the feeling of being burned, she just felt a gentle warmth. When she took a look, the flames were green, and she didn't feel like she was being burned. He removed his hand as he smirked and stood up. As he looked, there was no wound. There wasn't even a scar. Deku extended his hand as the girl accepted it and was picked up. He asked, "How did you do that? What kind of quirk is that?" As he then realized something else about his quirk. Wait, didn't you just teleport to get here? And attack him? Deku scratched his head thinking about how to explain it. And then he came up with an idea, stating, "Oh, I have a type of energy quirk that can take multiple forms. And if I condense it in a certain way, it can make objects. Different forms, though, depending on how I condense it." This somewhat satisfies her as he goes over and he asks her to wait a moment. He places his hand on the crystal encasing the Quill villain and teleports him to the nearest police station right to the front door with a note taped onto it saying, "This guy assaulted a girl with his quirk. Please process him," and quickly teleported back. The police took him in. As they did, the crystals disappeared and he tried to fight his way out but was unsuccessful. As he got processed, they found out that this guy was wanted for multiple assaults. As Deku reappeared in front of the girl, she remarked that she never figured an energy quirk could be so versatile, including teleportation, as he just laughs nervously, stating, "Yeah, who would have guessed?" Thinking in his mind, "I really can't explain this properly, not without actually bringing her to the abyss. If I just told her outright, she'd think I'd be crazy." As he asked if she's gonna be okay. He said yes and asked for his name. He stated, "Oh, well, I'm Izuku Midoriya," as she extended her hand, saying, "Well, that's nice. My name's Mina Ashido," and they shook hands. After that, they walked and started talking. Mina saw real quick that he was pretty analytic about quirks and all that, and that he was kind of a big hero buff, as in a hero nerd, and she just found it funny. After that, they started hanging out a good bit, and even practicing. As Izuku finds out that she has an acid quirk, he remarks that that could be incredibly useful in hero work, especially if people are trapped in an area that they aren't able to get out. She could just use her acid to melt a wall and open up a doorway for them to get out. She never really thought of using her quirk like that, but realized about how useful her quirk could be for getting people out of dangerous situations if they're trapped. He just smirked and thanked Izuku for that. As time went on, they got kind of closer, even to the point where Deku nervously asked her to go out. This Deku is pretty confident since being trained in with Sans, especially with his partner in training, Asta, who, well, even despite in canon having no magic, was extremely confident in himself. So, and I'm imagining even with magic, he'd still be confident about his capabilities. And that rubbed off on Deku quite a bit, including physical training. So, Deku in this one is pretty built, though not as built as Asta though. This is where we get to the beginning of the anime itself. As Deku's going home, well, he gets to rest thinking about the next day where he knows that heroes and all that talk are going to be yet explained in this class, since tomorrow is the day where he figures his teacher is going to be talking about careers. And obviously there will be hero talk, since it's just that kind of world. So as he falls asleep, Guy and Eve come to him in his dream state. This surprised him, as he never knew that his Guy and Eve could do these kinds of things. So he just sits up in his dream state, asking, "Sup, is there something wrong?" As they look somewhat worried and sit down as well, telling them that they have a lot to talk about, as they tell him that an interdimensional conqueror has set his eyes on him. This somewhat surprises Deku to the point where you just see a blank face, like full on just white with black lines, as in he says, "Wait, what?" They go to explain the person or demon in this situation was named Trigon and has conquered many multiverses. Though there are rules that keep them from interacting from one another, due to the fact that you are a future ruler of the Abyss. If he comes to your universe to attack you directly, it would give them a reason for Guy and Eve to fight and destroy Trigon themselves. Though it seems as though he is going from multiverse to multiverse, trying to recruit people from those worlds in order to attack them. A type of indirect attack of his that wouldn't cause us to have a loophole to come here and protect you. As uh, sorry, as Deku states, "Wait, why is that? So you can't come and help me out yourselves? What kind of ruling is that?" Guy and Eve look at one another as they state, "Do you remember how there was only Eve there in Sans' abyss? It was because Gaia went rogue due to multiple things happening whenever they interacted directly with mortals throughout in the multiverse, causing much harm." Deku swallowed nervously as he remarked, "So, in other words, because of that, all the other Gaias and Eves of the multiversal constants of their abyss have a rule not to directly interact with mortals unless certain criteria are met?" Guy and Eve shook their heads in agreement, stating, "Yes, that's exactly. Though, due to the fact that he's attacking you indirectly through others that he's sending, we cannot do anything. However, if we can track down who's he's recruiting, we could recruit our own. We can recruit heroes of the multiverse in order to send as reinforcement. However, we will first have to track down who in what universe throughout the multiverse has he recruited. And that may take some time, and especially if he recruits people from multiple multiverses. So it will take quite a lot of time. However, once we do know who he's brought, as well as knowing who they are and everything about them, we can correctly choose who to send as reinforcements, as well as set things up for them to be there and seem naturally, not so to not disrupt the natural order of your world. Much things must be considered when a god moves." He shook his head, stating that he understands that they are limited in this aspect and won't questions him any further on their judgment, since thanks to them he has a chance to be a hero, and even more since after his life he'll be a guardian of the multiverse. Also understanding that this Trigon is after him because he sees him as a obstacle. But then a thought came to mind as he says, wait, if they do kill me, won't that be the end of my life and then I ascend to like the plane of being the ruler of the abyss? They looked at Deku nervously and stated, no. In this state, you will, well, since they're from another universe, something unique will be about them, especially since they'll most likely have a trace of a multiversal conqueror on them or in them. In that term of case, they will be capable of killing you in such a way that you won't be able to ascend to the rightful place as the ruler of the abyss, which will cause much problems, especially destroying the two power orbs that lay within you. If those are destroyed, then we cannot create a new ruler of the abyss for multiple millennia until we are able to fully create new orbs to replace the ones lost. Deku's nervous and asks, okay, so how long is it going to be until they come after me? Man, how long will it take for you to get reinforcements? They state that they don't know. There is much to look for. People missing, whether it be a single person or more from an entire universe, which isn't an easy thing to look for, even for a god. He just looks down and then stares directly at Guy and Eve and says, alright, I get it. I'm going to trust you, and I'll make sure that I won't go that easily. I promise. Guy and Eve smirk as they state, yes, we sure you won't. After that, he wakes up and goes directly to school where, as he expected when he knew when the career talk was going to happen, he just tosses a paper and everybody yells out showing their powers as the teacher states that he knows that they all want to be heroes. And Bakugo shows off his flashy explosion quirk, obviously. As the teacher then states that, oh yes, Izuku Midoriya is also applying to UA. As everybody looks back and kind of smirks a little bit, thinking that, yeah, Izuku could definitely get into UA with his power. I mean, it's so versatile and has a lot of uses. This does annoy Bakugo a little bit, seeing that Deku is severe competition for him in UA. After all that, he does still go down the same path, though this time around he senses a soul reacting quite erratically and violently, though he can tell it's coming from underground. If you don't know, Abyss Hands has the ability to sense souls. Though he steps back a little bit, as he then sees a sludge creature emerge from the sewer, yelling and stating, damn it, I didn't know he'd be here. Why? Is he in this city of all places? As he sees Deku and states, hey kid, I'm gonna be borrowing your body. I gotta get away before that freak catches up. Izuku doesn't know who he's talking about, but he states, sorry pal, but I'm already using my own body, so I'm gonna have to decline your offer. As the sludge villain gets annoyed, saying, you little brat! Going to attack him, but uh, Deku just lifts his hands and small crystals form around the villain, shocking him for a moment. But then the crystals quickly enlarge, enclosing around him, creating a crystal ball trapping the sludge villain. As he yells, "The hell is this?" as he tries to slam and bash his way out of the crystal prison. Then he hears, "Do not fear, for I am here," as All Might bursts onto the scene, only seeing that the sludge villain has already been caught in a large crystal ball. As All Might looks and sees that a boy with green hair, as well as glowing green and blue eyes and odd markings that seem to appear on his face, seems to be the one who made it. Of course, Deku basically fanboys out about this a bit and asks for his autograph, which All Might does oblige, as he then states that, so how am I supposed to get this guy to the police? As Deku looks around and sees two bottles. He grabs them and states, well, first I think we should render him a bit immobile, as he spins the crystal prison rapidly around, causing the sludge villain to freak out, saying, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" And when he's done, the sludge villain is unconscious and very nauseous. As Deku just smirks, compressing the crystal prison, making it smaller. Then, holding a bottle underneath, as he opens up the crystal at the bottom, basically pouring the sludge villain into it. Into one bottle and then into the second one, putting the caps on and handing him to All Might, stating, "This should do, right?" All Might thanks him and says, "Well then, if everything's all taken care of, I'll get this guy to the police pronto," as he jumps away. He does smirk as he just is excited to have seen All Might and can't wait to tell his mom and Mina about it. So he goes on his way. But unbeknownst to him, as well as All Might, the force of All Might's jump caused the bottom of his pocket, where the sludge villain was, to tear open, where the bottles fell out. So, like in canon, Bakugo does get caught by the sludge villain. And when things are blowing up, Deku quickly goes over there, teleporting, and then just seeing the destruction that's happening with everything on fire and the heroes panicking, trying to control the situation, but doing nothing. As he then hears that the villain has a boy as a hostage. He goes to look and sees that the kid he has is Bakugo. He pulls out the necklace with the crystal on it that he got from Sans, as his cloak forms over him. This is the Abyss cloak. For Deku's, it has a dark green color with the fluff on it being kind of a teal, which is kind of like a very light green. As he rushes towards him, just flying, with the fluff turning into wings. With that, the sludge villain yells out, "Oh, not you again!" as he swings his slime arms around, trying to hit him. But Deku teleports, evading him and getting closer, until he gets right up and personal with him and Bakugo. As he grabs Bakugo by the face, which is the only opening he can find, he focuses and teleports only him and Bakugo next to the heroes. Then, teleporting directly up above the villain, he creates a Gaster Blaster, full on firing it. Now, if you don't know, the Abyss Gaster Blaster doesn't just shoot energy, it also shoots crystals in the energy. So the sludge villain gets not only fried, but but just sliced to pieces, which, given his body is sludge, doesn't cause any permanent damage, just scatters him about. After that, Deku uses his telekinesis ability, or gravity control, whichever some people call it, or, controlling the sludge villain's body and pouring him into a barrel, sealing it up tight. He's applauded by the crowd as he's just surrounded by people saying that he did great, but then the heroes interrupt, stating that, "Kid, do you know how reckless that was? We're heroes for a reason. We've been licensed, you haven't." As Deku just scratches his head confused as he states, "Well, I mean, you weren't actually doing anything to help him, so, I mean, if you weren't, I had to." As the heroes just jaws drop as they just think, "The hell? What kind of a mouth does this kid have to say that so nonchalantly?" As All Might walks in his buff form, stating, "Yes, he has a point. If the heroes aren't able to do the job that they are trained to do, then I suppose it's up to somebody else to get it done, whether they're licensed or not. Although it may be against the law, I do applaud this young man for acting so quickly and so appropriately to the situation to make sure there were no damages to the surrounding buildings that were already damaged enough, as well as incapacitating and capturing the hero properly." The heroes that were there kind of looked down as All Might states in his mind, "Though I'm no better, even with my organs torn up." As Deku looks at him, as he heard this, what All Might was thinking, or at least hearing the echo of All Might's soul, thinking, "What? His organs?" After being surrounded for so long, he just says, "I'm out," and teleports away as he slowly walks. While he's there walking home, Bakugo catches up to him, saying, "I didn't need your help, nerd. I had that villain right where I wanted him." As Deku just looks behind, seeing Bakugo stating, "Right where you wanted him? So you wanted him 6 inches down your throat?" As Bakugo just grit his teeth and yelled, "The hell with you!" as he stormed off, with Deku having a bit of a smug face. Honestly, Deku didn't really get the joke part from Sans, though he did come back from his training with a very smart mouth. As he was going home, All Might rushed over to meet with him, surprising Deku as he states, "All Might, is that you? What are you doing here?" As All Might states, "I stand for justice, not sound bites," as he laughs and then spits up blood, shrinking down to a small Might form, which freaks out Deku. Of course, he can tell that this is really All Might. He senses his soul, and this skeleton-looking guy has the same feeling of the soul as All Might does. As All Might just looks at him kind of strangely, with him thinking that he's gonna freak out and say that he's not All Might. As he walks up to him, Deku looks and states, "So, you said something about your organs being torn up?" As All Might just looks at him nervously, stating, "Wait, what are you talking about? I never told anybody that, let alone you." As Deku just looks at him, saying, "Oh, sorry. I guess you can say it's more like something I can do." It's like I can hear an echo of not what they're thinking, but what they feel, you know? As All Might just looks at him saying, the hell? I hope there's not anybody else like this to deal with. As he then coughs and states, Izuku Midoriya, I wish for you to be my successor. As he reaches out his hand and states that I want you to take on my quirk. This confuses him greatly, as he then begins to babble, thinking about what he means and what he should do, with All Might stating that, stop freaking out! Look, simple fact is, I can transfer my quirk to you, okay? As he then tells Deku where to meet him. Once he gets home, he then thinks about this for a while, and thinks that this could be the, the best situation, probably, considering what I'm gonna be going up against, or at least what Guy and Eve told me about. I really dread going against the multiverse conquering demon guy and his minions. That's pretty freaking scary. Even if Guy and Eve do send back up. Though, I can't hide that from All Might. He's the #1 hero. Anybody can help me, he can. As he goes to bed, and once it comes to meeting All Might, he meets him at Dagobah Beach, as All Might describes his training and what they'll be doing. Though before anything else, Deku stops him and states, look, there's something I have to, well, show you and explain. So, do you mind coming with me? All Might looks at him curiously and states, well, sure, young Midoriya, but where exactly are we going? As Izuku scratches his head thinking, and how do I explain this? As he just tells All Might, it's better if I show you rather than explain it. As he sticks out his hand and creates a portal, telling him to come this way. As he walks into the abyss, which is just surrounded with orbs, which are essentially the second hearts of universes that would allow him, once he becomes the ruler of the abyss, to restart a dead or destroyed universe. As All Might begins to walk, he then figures out he's starting to float. Deku uses his wings to come up to him to keep him steady, as he calls for Guy and Eve, who quickly appear, asking what is going on. Deku explains the situation with All Might, which All Might is surprised he's just saying this nonchalantly to these strange people in such a strange place. As they think about this and say that this might be a great solution to our problem. As All Might remarks, wait, what problem? They then control the area to help All Might be able to at least sit down properly and begin to tell him about Trigon and what he's doing, as well as Izuku's future after his life as a human in their world, or more precise, their universe. This shocks All Might to the nth degree, as he looks at him saying, wait, so you don't really need my power? As Gaia remarks, well, that isn't necessarily true, as he creates an orb and shows him the dangers he'll have to face as the ruler of the abyss. The entities that could be considered god level, as he shows him the planet eaters, both Galactus as well as Ego. Galactus, who eats the planets, and Ego, who destroys them, or I guess in a way eats them to make them a part of him to gain greater mass and power. Next, Thanos. then dark side, and etc. Even even in some universes, the great threat of a technological entity that could be considered a god in some aspects, Brainiac, and as well as some universes where these entities destroyed the entire universe, including the Black Lanterns that caused and wreaked havoc throughout the entire universe, destroying it. All Might understood what this kid was going to have to face after his life as a normal human passed, and was freaking out. As I mean, the concept of the multiverse is real, is kind of a big impact for somebody, though he was wondering how powerful Izuku is now. As Guy and Eve remarked that he isn't as powerful as you think, or as he will be currently. He hasn't accepted the rest of the power orbs that are required to become the ruler of the Abyss. When he does, he'll be at full strength as the ruler of the Abyss, though that isn't to say that he won't be vulnerable or capable of being destroyed or anything like that from other what would be considered other god level entities that have wreaked havoc across numerous multiverses in their multiple incarnations in the multiverse. All Might gets it, understanding the threat that is not only the threats he will have to face once he ascends to become this ruler of the Abyss, but the threat that is coming toward them right now in their own universe. As he asked, does he about who exactly is this Trigon sending? They state that they have a list of some of them, though they'd rather not have to worry about have them worry about it until it gets to that. Though, as they say this, Deku remarks, stating and asking if he is capable of healing All Might's wound. They somewhat feel is All Might's presence, trying to see what type of existence he's in at the moment. You can sense his dire wounds. As Eve remarks, well, your green soul magic is capable of healing. You also have the ability to evolve, or your powers do, in order to make you stronger. If you begin to heal him, then your ability to evolve could react and be capable of healing him completely as your fires begin to evolve to increase their healing capabilities. So it would be possible. As Deku smirks and looks at All Might, stating that, awesome, so you're gonna be okay. All Might is surprised by this, as he stands up and bows toward Guy and Eve, thanking them for choosing such a kind-hearted boy to look after the multiverse, and for bringing him, giving him the power as well as arranging fate to meet them. As Guy and Eve remark, oh no, we don't arrange fate. Fate is pretty much random. It's basically like playing a randomization of cards, like poker, in the dark, where you don't even know what your own hand is. As this just shocks All Might, as Gaia remarks, yeah, it's pretty much just the universe runs on a lot of randomness, so we don't really control it. It's all up to you guys, really. That whole thing about things are fated to happen is pretty much bunk. As All Might just states, okay, I think I get it. After that, Deku leaves, as All Might goes through the portal first, and before Deku steps through, he tells him, thanks Gaia, thanks Eve. as they wave him goodbye. Once they leave, Guy and Eve are thinking, well, this is a load off of our shoulders, most definitely, huh? As Eve remarks, yes, yes it is. After that, before they begin training, Deku produces his green flames, as All Might raises up his shirt to show his wound. Worried a bit since he sees green flames going towards his severe wound, he's also expecting to get burned a little bit, but just feels a pleasant warmth. He feels himself feeling better, a lot better actually, though Deku is struggling a little bit, trying harder and harder. And as he does, the green flames that have a lighter green color on the inner parts with a darker green on the outer parts ends up having a blue outer part of the flames with a green inner part. That he can feel a more drastic change in his organs. This somewhat throws him aback and shocks him a bit. Though, when Izuku pulls his hand away, there isn't a scar anymore, and he can breathe easier and better as he bulks up into his All Might form, saying, I feel so much better. I even feel younger, I might say. After that, All Might asks Deku to remove his shirt to show him what they're going to be working with, and Deku is surprisingly built for his age, as he just remarks, well, seems like we won't have to work, or you won't have to go with the advanced schedule as much as I thought. But with that said, the training still happens, and Deku goes to work on the beach, working as hard as he can, not using his magic, obviously, because he needs to get his body as built as possible to handle One for All. And I want to say in about 5 months, it's complete, as we now get to the part where Deku inherits One for All, obviously doing the hair thing, confusing and also somewhat disturbing Deku. As All Might explains, it's just the way it works. I swear. Of course, he's just looking down as he takes in the hair, just full on gagging, begging for water, which he does get to choke it down. After that, he tries it. Doing it in one arm, he feels something wrong. I would imagine somebody who uses magic of the abyss like Deku and of the soul could tell when there's an imbalance of energy. So he stops, and then spreads it throughout his whole body, balancing it out. As he goes to throw a punch, it shows a powerful impact as he tries to get a better feel for it. Moving around, seeing that it is somewhat hard to move at such physical speeds like that without proper practice, and realizes that he's gonna have to really work at it. All Might states that, from what I can tell, you're most likely at about 70%. I was a bit more physically built than you at your age, but even so, I was also worried about the increase in power, since each time the One for All is passed on, the power gets a drastic increase. As Deku looks over and asks, wait, which number am I in the lineup of users of One for All? All Might remark that you are actually the 9th user, as it happens. He's a bit excited and also kind of worried about breaking things and people if he doesn't hold back properly. So he does train. I want to say about 3 months in, something very odd happens. Now, before I explain what happens, you see, whenever the abysses were linked together like they are now, the flow of time and space were drastically altered, which would cause people who traveled through time space to be drastically altered. Like if they have a let's say a craft that not only allows them to travel through both space but time as well. Now, due to the change in time space, they are now able to jump universes, which is completely insane and wasn't possible until the abysses were connected, which means that multiple multiverses were also connected. So, a lot of craziness. Now then, as they were training, they hear an odd noise that goes woof. I don't think I can do that right, but when they go to look where that sound is coming from, they see a blue box that has the words police box on it. As a woman comes out, a blonde woman with hair that reaches just about to the shoulders, I believe, as she walks over asking if they seen any odd angel statues. As they asked what did she mean. As he looks at her device he was holding, he stated, "Oh, sorry. I was tracking some things called weeping angels to a source of power. You seem to have a similar source, but it doesn't appear to be the one that they were going to. They've been kind of blipping in and out. Sorry about that, but um, let's see. There seems to be 4 energy signatures like yours, well, including you, but they seem to be going to a different one." As they asked who she was, she stated, "Oh, I'm the doctor." As they asked, "Doctor who?" As he just looks, saying, "Exactly." As they kind of, as he laughs, and they just look confused, he goes to shake their hands. He shakes All Might's hand with no problem, but what he does to Deku, something odd happens. Deku is influenced by a power that stretches, that is connected to the multiverse itself to go throughout any place in space, or even throughout the universe, any universe's space and all that. As the Doctor is a being that travels throughout the vast expanse of time. This reaction causes something very odd. What they then see as they go into a trance is the lives of each Doctor, from the first one all the way to her, the 13th, I believe. Though there are 14th Doctors, which he does also see the life glimpses of the Doctor of War. But they also see the battles and some of the lives, or fragments of it, of the past users of One for All. Deku has been feeling something form within him, little by little, though at the moment these pieces are now forming together, faster and more complete, as a glowing, upside down red heart that is inside his green heart, which is his soul. All Might, when this all began, was freaking out of what was going on and grabbed Izuku's shoulder. Since he still had traces of One for All, he also saw this. On All Might and Deku's side, behind them were the past users of One for All, including a shadow, or at least a form of what All Might looked like in his younger days. And behind the Doctor was all of the past Doctors. As they looked behind themselves and in front, seeing each other's, the past of the Doctor as well as the past of One for All. They snapped out of it, with Izuku and All Might stating, "It seems like you've had quite the past." As the Doctor stated, "It also seems like whatever you have also has quite the history to it." As they talked a little bit more, as the Doctor was leaving, All Might remembers one of the things he saw in her memory, stating that, I think it was true. If you just vanished, the universe might get pretty cold." The Doctor smirked and stated, "Yes, and if this power that has been passed on leaves this world, I'm sure the same thing would happen as well." As he stated for them to wait there for a moment, he goes inside her box, aka the TARDIS, and comes out, giving Izuku a odd metal stick. As he presses a button, it pops out with 4 prongs over a green light, opening up, revealing the green light shining. As he remarks, "Think of it as a gift and hopefully something that might come in use. It's called a sonic screwdriver. If you're coming into contact with any tech that might give you trouble, just point and hit the button. Think about what you want it to do. Alright? That's all." As he remarks that, "Now I gotta go and help out whoever those angels are going after." As he's asked, "Wait, you said that they were going after someone with a similar energy to mine, right?" He stated yes. He then said, "Well, if that's the case, if it's a guy named Asta, please tell him I said hi, and I hope he's doing well." He smirks and states, "That won't be a problem. If he has a friend like you, I'm sure he's gonna be just fine, especially if he seems to be as strong as you." He gets in there and then just whooshes out there. All Might just looking with a blank face, saying, "Oh dear God. First the multiverse thing happens and now time travelers." As he then just places his head against the wall in his skinny form, just saying, "My life was a lot less complicated before I met you." As Deku just kind of tries to comfort him, panicking, saying, "Oh, it's gonna be alright. I promise. I promise." As then he just puts the sonic screwdriver in his pocket, thinking, maybe put this out of sight. After that, he then just continues training and also practicing with his attacks, controlling One for All, and studying, even helping Mina study for the written portion of the test. Until the day of the U.S. entrance exam. However, we go to a dark laboratory in a time point about 1 or 2 weeks before the UA entrance exam. We see a doctor with odd glasses, as well as a man with 4 metal extending tendril arms coming out of his back, a man with a metal left hand, a white-haired man in a lab coat, and a large hurt guy in a luchador mask, as they come together looking at the Nomu from the USJ attack. As the old man with the odd glasses states, "Dr. Kleiss, if you do the honors of the beginning of this experiment." As the man with the metal hand, one hand, the left one, emerges needle-like objects from his fingertips and stabbed it into the Nomu, stating, "My pleasure," as the Nomu begins to change shape and form, becoming more monstrous. As he pulls out, stating, "Will this do?" The doctor with the glasses states, "Yes, will do just fine." Then he looks at the old man with the white hair and lab coat, as well as the luchador, stating, "All right, now then, were you able to make the formulas?" As they walk up to him, stating, as the white-haired man states, "Yes, I was able to make the formula with the animal that you requested. Hopefully this will work in your favor quite well." As the doctor states, "Thank you, Dr. Langstrom." Then the man in the luchador mask hands him a large canister of something green, some type of green liquid, and states, "This should work, and it should be more than enough for your means." As he takes it, stating, "Thank you, Bane. This is called the Venom Serum, correct?" As he states, "Yes, it is. My own creation." As the man with the arms tells them, "Good. Now then, me and the good doctor here should be able to work our magic. I just need to make the parts to match his new form." As the doctor looks at the man with the arms, mechanical arms coming out of his back, stating, "Yes, Dr. Octavius, we have much work to finish this creature, this beginning of our final masterpiece." As he calls Kurogiri, telling him to bring Bane, Dr. Langstrom, and Dr. Kleis back to the hideout with the others, as him and Dr. Octavius have much to do. Kurogiri appears, creating a portal for them. As they walk through it, we see that Shigaraki is asking, "Oh, did Doc already finish with you?" They smirk, "Yes. Yes, he is. And I have to admit, the results were more than satisfactory. And probably even more even so once the device Dr. Octavius is going to make is complete." As Shigaraki stands up, smirking, saying, "That's just great. Now all we need left is the information on when we need to strike." As a shadowy figure stands up, stating, "Oh, I'm so, so excited from anticipation for when this party gets started." As the man laughs maniacally in a twisted and familiar laugh. As we see him backing up from the camera, still seeing him as a shadowy figure, we see about 10 or so others, still in a shadowy figure look. As the man who is laughing then states, "Oh, this is gonna be so much fun." Now, this is the end of this part 1 of the What If. In the next part, Izuku is going to take the UA entrance exam. Now then, I hope you enjoyed this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, remember to comment, as well as hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Remember, if you do not hit the notification bell and select it to all, you will not be properly updated for when I upload a new vid. So, like I said before, have a good day or night or whenever you're watching this, and hope to see you next time. See you later, guys. Oh, as well as hope to see you for the next What If, which is the final What If to get a second part finally, which is what if Asta had Satan Gravity Ether Gear. So, hope you like this video and hope you'll like the video coming up. See you later.